Well, look, my name is Harry Lee. I'm the director and owner of iSell Group. It's an independent real estate company here in Springvale, part of Melbourne. I've been in real estate for 15 years. Started business ownership in 2011, so going on nine and a half years now.
How long have you been working in the Springvale area?
All my life. All my real estate career has been revolved around Springvale and its surrounds. So that includes Noble Park, Keysborough, Dandenong, and the local areas. You could say the main core area I look after is the city of Greater Dandenong itself, the municipal.
Why do you think people choose to buy in Springvale?
Springvale, I think there's just a lot of potential, I guess comparatively, especially to a lot of nearby suburbs. We've seen a lot of growth that has unfolded within recent times. That includes, of course, the development of the train station a few years back. The Homemaker Centre, IKEA, of course, a few years back also constructed their development there. M-City has just been completed, which is next door to us, down near Blackburn Road there. It's considered Notting Hill, but of course it's just down the road. So from an infrastructure perspective, there's so much going on. The town itself has been, I guess, cleaned up a lot. It had, I guess, a bit of a bad reputation probably 2 or 3 decades ago, but certainly the local councils and the state government has rectified that, and I think it's really grown to be a nice community. Obviously,
there's been a lot of market uncertainty. How has Springvale performed in the last 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, look, COVID-19 certainly put a spanner in the works. It did actually put a pause in the works for a lot of people as well. So looking back, say, at the end of last year, start of this year, real estate market was doing really well. We were heading on the right track. We were heading towards the peak prices of 2017 when the last peak was occurring. Then, of course, from mid-February to, say, early March onwards, when I guess coronavirus was becoming a little bit more well-known and some restrictions were coming into play, that's when the market probably took a back seat. Some people, once again, stopped their moving altogether, whether it's buying or selling. Of course, the ones that were in more urgent need to move and sell and do something, of course, that saw the market slightly come down average price-wise.
In the past, Springvale has been near the average in terms of housing price, but right now it is about $150,000 more than the median price in the state. Why do you think this growth has occurred?
Yeah, look, a lot of that's contributed to what I mentioned earlier about infrastructure, but also too, beyond the local community, a lot of people from the outside view Springvale as having a lot of potential because any nearby suburb, call it Mulgrave, Glen Waverley, Clayton, and the like, the price ranges are completely different. It's almost like a separate ball game altogether, 10-20% price gap without hesitation. Whereas if you look at the proximity to those suburbs, we're only probably about, Mulgrave's only down the road. Clayton's about 3 to 4 kilometres away. If you're looking at Glen Waverley, that's only a 10-minute drive away. Yet for the same type of house, same type of land, compared to, say, Glen Waverley, you're almost getting it at half the price, probably only paying 40% less.
And following along from that, how has the infrastructure and the community grown in response to the growing population?
Yeah, look, the community certainly has been built upon a strong Asian demographic. So we find that a lot of people of Vietnamese background, Chinese, Cambodian people, even Burmese nowadays, they're coming into the area, and I guess it gives them a feel that's very close to Asia or what they've been used to.
In your experience, what's the typical property in Springvale in terms of architecture and size? What can buyers expect?
Well, most commonly, most homes originally were built in the late 60s or early 70s around Springvale, and if you flow down towards, I guess, nearby suburbs, were all built in that type of time frame. Generally, they're either weatherboard of structure or brick veneer. So these are the most common types. Most homes would be sitting on, say, 550 to 600 square meters of land, albeit there are properties that do have larger allotments, can range up towards 1,000 plus square meters as well, which of course is more suitable these days for development sites. In terms of size itself, there will be normally about 12.5 squares, give or take, in size internally, which will be the standard 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom, 1 living area type of property. But then, of course, the ones that have done extensions over time, renovations and alterations, they'll be bigger nowadays.
Right. So how about the rental market? How are the rental yields in the area?
Yeah, well, look, rental yields for homes are not bad. Normally, people are getting 3% returns for homes itself. However, for units and townhouses or apartments, certainly the rental return and the yields are a lot better. We find that, say, with a townhouse in Springvale, depending whether it's 2 or 3 bedroom and how new or old it is. You could be buying anywhere from about 550,000 up towards about 680,000, and you'll be getting 400, 420, 450 per week, close to 500 if they're really supreme townhouses. Units, you can buy for around 500,000 or less, and say especially if they're 2 bedroom, and you'll still be getting along the lines of 380 to 400 a week, which is pretty decent returns.
This all sounds pretty enticing for buyers. What do you think the long-term growth potential is for Springvale?
Yeah, look, we see there to be a lot more growth to be had. A lot of the, you can say, older structures, older buildings, older homes that are sitting on the large allotments there, actually being redeveloped as we speak. They have been ongoing for many years, but I think a lot of the new projects that are coming along certainly is going to transform a lot of streets, but certainly little precincts within Springvale itself as well. I think that would help not only lift up the image, you'll come with new architecture, new designs, lift up, you could say, the standard of building as well within the area, and you could say taste and modern infusion into the architecture. But certainly that, I think, will play a big part.
Now, what advice do you have for people looking to invest in the area?
Yeah, well, look, I think regardless whether it's Springvale or not, always just do your research. I think it's always good to know what your capacity is these days, given, of course, the situation that we're encountering through COVID-19. The banks and lending institutions have different structures and ways of assessing your own positions financially. So it's always good just to get that done first, because once you know what type of parameters you're working with and say how much you can borrow, then you can target what type of property that you can buy. Investing wise, if you invest long term, I think Springvale's a winner. You've got nothing to worry about in that regard. But in terms of what you can buy, whether it be a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom, whether it be a townhouse or a house, or whether it be a unit or apartment, it really does depend on, I guess, what you can afford. But ultimately, when you buy land or a property with land in Springvale, the performance of capital growth has been sensational over the last 10 years. And if you were to buy, say, units or apartments, the capital growth isn't as great, but certainly your rental yield is there to support your own.
Do you think right now is a good time to buy, or should people wait?
Yeah, look, it's a hard one to say, only because, look, given what's occurred, we've seen, of course, some people financially hit, maybe not be able to buy homes because of, say, lack of work or not being able to run their business what they used to. That you could say is a negative, but then also too, we see forecasted, well, we don't know whether it's definitely going to be happening, but the government could be providing incentives down the track. They've mentioned about possibly removing stamp duty from purchases. So if they were to remove stamp duty from purchases, that'll significantly make housing more affordable to purchase as well. Young home buyers, they've got great incentives right now, including, say, for example, paying no stamp duty if it's under 600,000 anyway, and they've got incentives between 600 and 750, which is right in the niche of Springvale here too. So plenty of benefits there. Medium term, I just really believe that ultimately it comes down to how the economic situation works. I really believe property, no matter what, whenever you look at it as an investment, look at it as a long term, because over a long term, you're always going to be in a good position. If you look at a window, say between a 2 or 3 year window, you're relying on a little bit of luck whether you're going to be, say, turning around a bit of capital growth or not, or having some equity gained in the property. But if it's 7 to 10 years, that's the traditional format. You've got nothing to worry about.
Do you have any advice for home buyers looking for an agent to help guide them through an area?
Well, home buyers, look, definitely when it comes to, say, choosing agents, it's probably not as an important thing, because ultimately what's the most important is to choose the right property. So whether it be, if it's for themselves to live in, they need to make sure that they find the right suitable property. Now, of course, there are agents or agencies that would sell more in a certain area. So say, for example, Springvale and local iSell group does sell a lot more, so they will encounter us more. What they do want, if they are seeking help from the agent, is just upfront transparency. I think that's the biggest thing people want these days. Information is readily available online, so if they wanted to search some data, they can online. But what they want from the agent should be upfront transparency of live market information. Like for example, if we, say as an agency over the last 2 weeks, since some rule changes on restrictions, we can let people know how many people have actually been attending open homes and what the responses have been like and what the auction turnouts have been and what the results have been. This data you may not be able to find straight away on your traditional sources online. Well, I hope the information that I've provided thus far today has been useful. Just want to let you know that iSell Group, we do serve all over Melbourne. We do specialise in the city of Greater Dandenong, but we've helped clients all around. So whether you're thinking of buying, selling, or leasing, certainly we're here to cater for your needs. If you're looking for some general real estate help outside of just iSell Group, but just needing some tips or maybe some buying, what's important when it comes to selling, I've got my own social pages as well, which you can go on and jump on. Of course, all the information is there for you to feel free to click around at your own convenient time. I'm sure the names will pop up on the screen, Harry Lee 6688. Follow the pages there and that'll help you as well.